Hey y'all, I'm back with another one, and this video is titled 1 Year Testimony. Now, I feel like this is an appropriate time to just speak on the struggles, the obstacles, the my strengths, my weaknesses, just everything I overcame and how I made it to the top. But this ain't even the top, because the top is infinite, really, when we think about it, or when you thinking of it in a higher perspective. So this video is for my new moms, or y'all could be mothers already. It's for my teenagers, trying to show y'all what to do in certain situations and what not to do. For my young adults like myself, it's for individuals that may have somebody in their energy that you're supposed to remove, but your heart won't let you. But you know it's time, and you're really hindering yourself from being as great as you can be. It's for the males and females, but like I said, it's my testimony, it's my experience, it's my journey. So I'm not quite sure if the males can, or if the males will really be able to relate to this. But anybody is welcome to listen and, hear me out. And I know that if you're watching this video, then I'm pretty sure that it may apply to you. So I wrote down some notes. I'm gonna be looking at my phone, and let's get into it. So I started with, we're in a season of prosperity, renewal, receiving blessings after blessings, the start of accomplishing major goals, moving, marriage, the list goes on. But others are in a season of despair, depression, confusion, anxiety, having health problems, so on and so forth. So let's continue to pray for everybody's minds, bodies, and souls as we experience this season. All right, so I go on to say, I was in my own way. I allowed myself to fall into the trap of the enemy, who was my worst self, my worst version of me. I got tired one day. I woke up and I realized I got to do better for the Creator, myself, and my child. And that's when God opened all of these doors for me, showed me better, because my heart and my mind was in a state of wanting better, wanting more, and wanting to be more, wanting to serve God, serve myself and my people. I prayed, and I still pray, for protection, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, understanding. I pray for discernment. I pray for my intuition to be heightened. So, I'm going to just start off with how my rent was paid this past year. I'm gonna start off with that, then we're gonna go on. So let's take it back to May of 22. If y'all been following me, y'all know I had my baby May, and let's just speak on everybody in the household. It was myself, my child's father, his son, and now our newborn. I paid May rent with my last check. Now June, my mom gave me $1,000, and I used that to pay my rent. Now, if y'all been following me, y'all know that I had cut her off once my grandma passed away, and I hadn't spoken to her in 4 months, in which those 4 months I was pregnant. And my dad had got us back on speaking terms. And she blessed me with that. So that was June. May paid, June paid. Now it's July and it's August. I had some money in some stocks, and I had to withdraw those funds in order to pay for July and August. Now, my child's father, I did let him know ahead of time that I was going to need his help financially because, of course, I done had the baby and I'm not able to work at the moment. So we agreed on that. He was having a hard time because, jobs was being racist or they just wasn't right. And me being me, I wouldn't work under those like circumstances, so I didn't expect him to. So a situation happened in August between us, and I was done. I couldn't take no more. I was more than overwhelmed. That's not even a word, because I was doing everything under the sun, and it was just too much to not be receiving any help, and all my energy is being drained. And then being a new mom on top of that, it was too much. So, I had kicked him out, and of course his son is with us, so his son had to go with him. And I was just never looked back since then. Now I did, or like in my mind, I was relying on him to provide financially, but I wasn't gonna allow what was going on to keep going on just because I need somebody to pay the rent. No, that didn't make sense to me. I knew God was gonna provide a way. I just didn't know how. I didn't know when. So that was my first step. I had to let go of people, and this is just in my life journey since I could remember. Friends, child's father, whatever. Like, hindrance is real. These spirits are real that be in people, and the spirits and others will hold you back if you allow it. So that was my lesson. Now I'm not saying he bad or nothing like that. It's all spiritual. It all goes back to spiritual. So I ain't putting no dirt on his name, not trying to disrespect him, none of that. I'm just being real. Okay, that's August. Now, let's stay in August, right? I was house sitting for my uncle and my baby 3 months at this time. So my uncle's giving me like $250 every time I go over there. And I was going over there, like 3-4 times a week. So my uncle provided me the funds to pay the rest of my bills for August. Cool. Now come September, my uncle, he cashed at me the money for my rent for September. So again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so thankful that you was there for me at my lowest point. I didn't expect it. It was definitely a blessing, and I'm forever grateful. Now, October, November, I was behind on my rent. Didn't know how I was going to pay it. I was holding on to faith. I was experiencing anxiety, but it was like to a minimum because I was just trying to keep my head on. So my dad calls me and he's like, how are you paying your rent? And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, mind you, in November, I was contacting churches and organizations for their help. And they were saying like either the list was closed until further notice, or I needed some type of income to match whatever funds they was able to give me. I just couldn't have no job. So I'm like, man, all right, I'm still keeping faith though. I'm not giving up. So now my dad's asking me, how you paying your rent? No, he was like, he didn't say that. I'm sorry, y'all. He was like, I hope you're not selling drugs, right? And this is real life, y'all, because, when women are in certain situations, right, where we hear it all the time in the movies and real life. I had to do what I had to do to keep this roof over your head, as if they're speaking to their child, to keep that roof over your head and food in your mouth and clothes on your back, right? We hear this in real life, and this is real. Women do what they have to do, whether that's selling drugs, whether that's prostitution, whatever the case may be. I took a different route. I had faith in God. I wasn't going, and I'm not dissing nobody, because I get it. You got to do what you got to do in the moment, right? I do get it. I'm not going to do that. I didn't do that, but I do understand. But I wasn't going down that road. I kept my mind, and I kept faith in God, and I put God as my main priority, and I allowed myself to struggle through it. And I was still, God was blessing me because of it. So, my dad made that statement. Now, like I said, okay, it's October, November, I'm backed up. So my dad, he asks me again, like, have you paid your rent? And I'm like, no. He was like, well, if you get evicted, you're going to have to go to a shelter, or you're going to have to come live with us. And, he's asking me about breastfeeding, and, you got to pump, and you got to put her in daycare. You got to do what you got to do. I get all that. And I got upset after the phone call, but I had to step back. I had to take a step back, and I had to realize that this is his reality. His reality is, if your rent is not paid, you will get evicted. But that's not my reality. See, God told me to renew my lease back in August, the end of August. So I know that God didn't tell me to renew my lease just to lose it. Credit is now it's on my credit. I can't. No. God wouldn't do that to me. No, not my Father, not my Lord. So I understood where he was coming from, and I let it go. But see, in that moment, I could have let the enemy get to me and start panicking and anxious about, I got to do something, and scammering, if that's a word, scattering, and you know what I'm saying, trying to figure it out. I didn't do that. So I kept my head on me. I kept my head on right. Okay. So my dad ends up paying October rent. Well, he paid October. Right. He paid October and November. Now it's December. My mom pays December. I had no way of paying December. So come January, mind you, the lady, you get a 5-day grace period of paying your rent, right? So the lady's been knocking on my door since October, and for 5 months, October, November, December, January, and February. For 5 months, this lady knocking on my door. So now it's January. She knocks on my door, and she's asking me when will I have the rent, and I'm telling her, give me a couple weeks. And I hate doing that because I really don't know when I'm gonna have this money. But they're asking for a time, so I have to give a time and just go from there. So, see, I'm the type of person, I try to avoid like credit card people and rent people till I know when I'm gonna have some money, because I don't want to just say anything. But I really didn't know. So, she knocks on the door. It's probably like, January 6th or something. My 5 days is up, basically. And she's like, church such and such, they paid $700 of your rent. So basically I only owe $115. And that was such a blessing because, like I told y'all, I started calling people and researching stuff for rental assistance in November. And usually they want all type of paperwork out. They want your social, they want your lease, they want maybe whoever's living with you, their social, they want to know any income, just all these different aspects to it. And that lady knocked on my door and said the church paid for you. I didn't get these people no type of paperwork. I called them. I believe they called me back, and they were supposed to call me a second time, but they never called me that second time. So I think they just went straight through the landlord and helped me with the rent. So that was a blessing. Now, February. Now it's February, and I don't have the remainder of January's rent nor February. So now she asks me, "Hey, do you have a job?" And I kept it real with her. I said no. So that's when that eviction summons situation came up, and I beat that. Now, when I say beat it, y'all, I don't mean it in a sense like when somebody fighting a case and they really got to go through the obstacles and go through hurdles to beat a case. It wasn't even like that. Like, it just played out in my best benefit. So I didn't add that in my prevailing current experience video, so I'm gonna add it now. Everything went in my favor. So y'all, the landlord didn't have to accept that court-based rental assistance program funding. The landlord did not. The landlord could have been like, no, I want her out of my unit. I don't want to have nothing to do with her. He didn't want to. Maybe he could have not. Sorry, get it together here. He could have not wanted to hear me out, hear my situation. It could have went that way, but all he wanted was his money. It didn't matter where the money was coming from. So that was a blessing. The firm that assisted me, they have the option for low income individuals to be able to, turn in paperwork as far as what their income is, and they still are going to assist you. So how they assisted me, even though I did my research, figured out what paperwork I needed for that case, they still helped me and went over it and everything I may need, anything I may be missing, and they didn't have to have that option. So that was a blessing. And then the judge was real cool, and you could tell that the judge doesn't take his power for granted, and he is very generous with his amount of time that he gives for like certain paperwork to be filed into him. So like, for example, an appearance and an answer, he may give us 3 weeks to get that back. So our next court date, give us 3 weeks to turn that paperwork in. If we come in that date and we don't have it, he may give us another 7 days, so another week to have that in, and then the consequences are going to come. So he don't have to give us a full another week just to get something in that he said got to be in the 3 weeks that he said. So he was cool, and he didn't want to see nobody get evicted. He was trying to work with us. So I appreciated that I had a judge that was cool, but he was about his business. He not gonna show his soft side, if that makes sense. So all I had to do was my part with that, y'all. I needed to call who I needed to call, research what I needed to research, and just not fold in that middle of that situation. So I also wanted to say how I forgot what month it was, but the hospital had sent me a check. They sent me 2 checks, actually. I think one in the amount of like over $200, and then the other one was like $116. And I called that a miracle, y'all, because it was no reason for me to receive that money. Like, I didn't pay anything for my child's birth, so it shouldn't have been like a refund or whatever it was. So I called that a miracle. What I feel like a miracle is something like a miracle versus a blessing. A miracle is something you don't know why you received it, but you did. It's yours. God gave it to you. A blessing is more so like where it came from, and like who it came from, stuff like that. So like my mom and dad and uncle helping me pay my rent, that was a blessing. And these checks, those were miracles, because I don't know why the hospital gave it to me. They just did. So another thing I wanted to say was during this year, y'all, I was being breadcrumbed, and my definition of breadcrumb is like God giving you a little bit at a time to do what you need to do. So I was taking my cousin to work because her car was down. I would probably take her to work, pick her up. She'll throw me $20 every time. That goes to my gas tank. I watched my cousin a couple times, and my auntie paid me for watching him. Breadcrumbed. Breadcrumb but blessed, I will say that. I did my friend's brother's hair one time, and I'm not even a hair doer, y'all, like, but I did really nice, and I took it serious because it's a job, and they mama had paid me for that, and that was breadcrumb, you know, that was only a couple dollars, but still. Am I missing anything? My dad, he was giving me some money here and there. Not too much, but you know, it was enough. I was being breadcrumb. My mom, she was, well, I'll get into that later. So that was breadcrumb. But even though I was giving like 20, 40, 60, 75 max dollars here and there, it was still enough for me to do what I needed to do with it. And I did what I was supposed to do with it. So I had everything I needed. You know, God still provided, even though it was little pieces at a time. And I believe that that was just so God, that was just for me to start learning my money. So if God give me a little bit, what I'm gonna do with it? When I get a lot, what I'm gonna do with that? Am I gonna handle it right? So I think I passed that. If that was a test, I feel like I passed that for sure. Now I'm gonna speak on like what I was doing in my time during this year. So August, let's go back to August. I hope I'm not all over the place, y'all. I feel like I'm doing pretty good time-wise, like chronological order. So let's go back to August. My auntie, she spent 7 hours on the phone with me, y'all. And I associate the number 7 with God. So if you want to take it like God is speaking to you, or God is trying to convey something to you, or God wants your attention, however you want to, whatever fits for you. But the number 7 to me is, it represents God, period. So she spent 7 hours on the phone with me, y'all. And this is my uncle's wife, the one that, my uncle that, you know, paid my rent for me. Auntie laid down everything on the table for me. And I would never forget this ever in my life. She said, niece, this is where people get stuck. And I don't want you stuck. She laid everything out on the table for me. What was what, and even the future, what's gonna happen. And I took that as God was using my auntie to speak through her to get through to me. I would never forget that, ever. My auntie got me over that hurdle I needed to get over. And after that, it was go time. It was strictly God. It was straight God. I wasn't playing around no more. My ego, to death with you. It was straight God. I'm living in my higher self. So I want to thank my auntie for that. That is, you can't put a price on that. Auntie giving me her time and giving me game. You can't put a price on that. So I would never forget that, auntie. I thank you so much for that. Okay, so what I was doing on my time, that was August. So after auntie gave me that game, it was a lot of videos that I was watching, just spiritual videos on YouTube. I feel like if I resonated with the people, I subscribed to them, and I would just listen to their word. And I was gaining information and gaining knowledge from them, you know, through God, using them. God is using them, and God is working through them. Sorry, couldn't get that out for whatever reason. So I was watching a lot of videos. I was taking care of my baby still. I'm still trying to keep faith. I'm still trying to minimize my anxiety. And trying to think. October 31st, that's when I believe God told me to start like working out, changing my health patterns and like what I was eating and stuff like that. And I was doing my thing, but you know, I still got some meat on my bones, y'all. Y'all can see it in my face, but that's okay, because this is a journey, and this is difficult. Like changing what you used to be into something totally new. It's definitely a journey, and that's regarding anything. So That was the healthiness. That was the health. And I'm trying to think what else. The videos. November, because God was preparing me to start my YouTube, which I did November 1st. That's 111. Put out my first YouTube video, and I've been doing that since. November, December. Really, I was in an isolation period, y'all. Like, I couldn't really, it wasn't no kicking it with nobody. It wasn't no letting people over and kicking it. I mean, I did, don't get me wrong. Like, my friends would come over sometimes. But it was more so, all that time was an isolation period to renew myself, renew my mind, renew my soul, renew my spirit. And it was preparing me. God was preparing me, and I was putting in the work to get to where I'm getting to. I was reading books. You know, I told y'all I was put in a position where, well, I wasn't put in it. It was just a situation. I didn't have no Wi-Fi. My phone was off, so I had to read books. So now I'm looking at how my life played out in these books. Okay, now here's the next step. So now I'm looking into what's next, which was wealth for me, money-wise, because I done did the healing. I done forgave myself. I forgave others. I'm not holding on to nothing. I understand where I went wrong and why situations played out in my life how they did, and just I went through all that. I understood that. So now we on wealth. We on getting some money. That's the process I was in at that point, the end of last year and beginning of this year. I hope I didn't miss nothing. Okay, so now my stepmama, I was on the phone with my stepmama for like a couple hours, and I want to say this may have been like January or February, but she was, because she works for a hospital. I'm not going to put too much of her business out, but she works for a hospital with mental patients, and she was telling me how so many girls come up in there with certain situations that are similar to mine, and how they be losing their minds, and just, you know, just a few things, because I don't think you could tell them people business for real, but you know, she'll just say how they going through stuff, because they'll tell her their situation. So that was confirmation again, because she's telling me this, and I'm like, right, you know, I could have lost my mind. So to go back to my dad saying, I hope you ain't selling drugs, like, I could have started selling drugs, I could have did prostitution, I could have lost my mind. But I held on to faith of God, and I knew God was gonna get me through it. So that stuck with me, that conversation with my stepmom and what other people go through in my situation. So that just lets me know that I'm definitely, I don't want to say a one of a kind, but I'm one of a few that really make it out after we put ourselves in tough situations, right? Because we do it to ourselves. So I want to thank everybody that helped me within this last year. This has been probably the toughest year of my life, and that's because I had a newborn. Like, I'm real strong. I can handle a lot. I could do a lot. I know how to keep myself up. But this right here, this could have broke me, but I didn't allow it to. And that's all thanks to the higher power, all thanks to our Creator, all thanks to the Father, all of it. I want to thank God for using my mother, my father, my uncle, my friends, specifically Olivia, Vladimir, that's my boy, Nagin, Miracle, Shania. Now, Olivia, my best friend, she done gave me money for groceries when I was at my lowest, This girl gave me like $250 for groceries. She done gave me grocery money multiple times when I was at my lowest, y'all. I couldn't even feed myself. My best friend was there for me. She done gave me clothes for my baby. Blessed me. Vladimir, when I was at my lowest, I couldn't pay my phone bill. He was there for me. He paid my phone bill for me a couple times. He was like, don't even worry about it. Like, you got it. Just straight like that. Miracle, Nagin, Shania, my friends, they done bought my baby all type of stuff, help me. Just being supportive, just being real friends. And I thank y'all and I love y'all. I hope I'm not forgetting nobody. Family. I got a lot of family, y'all, so I can't name everybody. But I thank y'all for everything that you provided me for my baby. My mom and dad. Did I say my mom and dad already? I appreciate them because they didn't have to help me at my grown age. But that's what true parents do. That's what real parents do. They're going to help you at whatever point in your life. And my dad has never thrown nothing in my face, so I appreciate him for that. Of course, my mama, I told you not to da-da-da, but even with her saying that, she still has helped me. My mom has bought me tissue to wipe my tail and paper towel and soap. You know what I'm saying? Like my household stuff. She done continuously gave me gas money. You know what I'm saying? Filled up my tank when I didn't have it. So regardless of what me and my mama done been through, like right now, when I needed her and need her, she has been there. And that's what matters. That's why I say I can't hold on to nothing. And what I want to tell y'all is always pay attention to the people that are there for you at your lowest. Always get them their flowers. So y'all, I'm giving y'all flowers. Y'all did y'all thing. I appreciate y'all so much. Always pay attention to the people that are trying to take from you when you at your highest. And they low-key jealous or envious or trying to destroy you like the enemy do. Kill, steal, and destroy. That are trying to do that, and don't allow it. Don't be no fool. Because at the end of the day, love ain't enough when somebody not doing right by you and you have nothing but the purest intent for them. Regardless if you in ego or if you in your higher self. See, because even when I was in my ego, I still was doing for people. I still wanted to see people win. I was a good friend and is a good friend. I sit up here, I buy people kids stuff. I provided shelter for people. When you kicking it with me, you gonna eat. Like literally you're gonna eat food. I'm gonna pay for your food. You're gonna have a good time. Drinks on me. If you need something, if you're going through a hard time, I got you with the money. Like if you need any advice, I got you. My friend, she moved to a whole nother state and she asked me last minute and I was there for her. So I'm a great individual, whether I was living in my ego or not. It's just I wasn't living right. I had too much freedom and I wasn't doing right with it. I was lacking purpose. I was lacking passion for whatever. Purpose, passion, didn't know where I was headed. And I learned that the missing link was God. It wasn't no man. It wasn't no friend. It wasn't no female. It wasn't, oh, my mama, my daddy did this. It wasn't, no. When I was younger, no, it wasn't that. My missing link was God. My relationship with God. And so I had to learn the hard way. So anyway, like I was saying, y'all, watch out and always give people their flowers if they done stuck by your side during your lowest. And watch out for the people that try to do you wrong when you at your highest. Watch out for the people that that like when you have an accomplishment or you reach the goal, watch how they react and watch how they move, because that's gonna tell you a lot. I just don't want y'all to be no fool out here. Let's end that. Love is not enough. People have to show action, and that's just what it is. So I got something in the works. I'm going to put this in another video, in the next video. So I need y'all to stay tuned, please, y'all, because this journey is not over. I have something else to share, honey. And like I said, this is my testimony, baby. It don't matter what situation you in. You can be at your lowest, and then God gonna put you at the top because you done stuck through. You done did what you was supposed to do. You ain't fold. The devil may have tried you, and you ain't even no. You knew who it was. You knew what it was, and you knew you wasn't going for it. So don't let no fear, don't let no individual, don't let no anything, don't let no negativity stop you from what your soul is calling you to do and is needing you to do. So this is my 1 year testimony, y'all. And like I always say, God is waiting on you. You're the only one playing. Love y'all. Peace.